Hello, my name is Germana Ravanelli. I come to you from Nanaimo, BC. This platform is all about health and wellness, body, mind, spirit training, and I'm going to very quickly plug my book. And it's called Journey of Transformation, A Road to Transformation, Healing Generational Trauma. This book illustrates the power of our will to change our life if you have been hurt, abused, neglected, struggled with addiction, alcoholism, eating disorder, all of those things. Those things are touched upon in this manuscript of my life. And the reason I shared it was because a lot of people would say, how did you get through that? And, my divorce lawyer said, you got to write a book. And I'm like, I don't want to write a book. Eventually, I wrote a book, and it's called The Road to Transformation, and it's a process. So if you're interested in inspiration about creating a better life for yourself, which is what this channel is all about, through holistic tools, then please check it out on Amazon. The topic I'm going to talk to you today about is it's the B word. It's boundaries. And a lot of people go, well, what are boundaries? And boundaries are, there's different types of boundaries. But if you are someone who's frustrated, angry, depressed, exhausted, struggling financially, struggling with relationships, struggling, with your emotions, struggling with your finances, those are signs that you have no boundaries in those areas. And a boundary is a tool that we use, number one, to assess how are we doing? Like, how are we doing in this one area of life? And, one of the areas that I think most people are aware of is themselves. Like, how do I feel in my own skin? And some people feel great and some people don't. One of the things that I think is really important is to ask yourself, if I was allowed to have a need, if I was allowed to consider my own needs, what would I be doing different? And that would be telling you what you actually really need and what you really want. Now, I'm putting together a program. It's not quite ready to be launched in the digital world, called Boundaries or Burnout. And the reason I wanted to create that is because all I see around me is people that are sick, they're exhausted, they're depleted, and they just keep going. Go, 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 go. Someone else has another request. Go, go. And so they don't actually learn to go, do I have the bandwidth for this? Do I actually want to do this? Am I doing it out of guilt or obligation, or am I doing this to please somebody else at my expense? And unfortunately, a lot of people do a lot of things for other people at their own expense. And women are really, really, really programmed to do that. So if you're between 35 and 55, you probably have very poor boundaries. When we hit menopause, our body starts to flag, and, we do whatever we can to keep going. And, when we start to hit those years, we actually need to slow down. We need to usually do bioidentical hormone therapy. We usually need to have more naps. We usually need to eat better. We usually need more compassion for ourselves. And yet what our thinking will do, and a thought boundary is like, will I allow myself to say this to myself? And most of our suffering comes from what we actually tell ourselves, because we program ourselves to have these behaviors. But most of our thinking will say, oh, there's something wrong with me. I'm not feeling well. If I just, have another cup of coffee, or have another cookie, or have another donut, or whatever it is, or have another Red Bull, and then we try to whip ourselves forward, and we just keep going until we collapse. And so the burnout portion is not listening to the body, not respecting what the body is actually, telling us. And in our society, we're stuck in this compliance role, and we might keep doing things. We're angry, we're resentful, we're not feeling well. Usually the body ends up getting sick or buckling because we didn't listen to our body. We're listening to our mind, which is really locked into ego and how do I look? Will I lose my job? Will my boyfriend hate me? If I say no, I really don't want to do this today. Or if we ask for what we want, a lot of people don't ask, they manipulate. And if they don't get it, then they go into this victim diatribe story about how so-and-so didn't do blah, blah, blah. And I'll say, well, did you ask for what you wanted? Now that's an intellectual boundary. asking for what you wanted. And they'll go, well, no, I never thought of it. They should just know because they love me. And I'm like, that doesn't work. That will cause you so much suffering and so much pain. It may lose you the relationship, because as you spin in your own anger and frustration, excuse me for my hair, you're going to become mean. You're mean to yourself because you're not taking care of yourself. And then you're going to spray paint them with that pain. And they're probably going to leave you. And then you're going to blame them instead of going, how did I show up? Did I actually say, I actually don't want to do this. Could we do this? And asking, not shaming, asking, what do you think? Could we do this weekend, and next weekend we can do whatever you want? Like networking, negotiating, those are boundaries, and those are called, emotional, intellectual boundaries, asking for what you need and want. And this isn't about other people. This is about you. If somebody invites you to do something, do you just say yes? Or do you check in? One great way to interrupt that is to go, I'm going to need 24 hours and I'll get back to you and I can process. And that will get you out of a hot spot immediately. I used to have one lady that would manipulate me and I would say yes because I wanted her to like me. And then I was so angry at myself and I thought, God, how do I get out of that? Because she knew how to hit that button. She knew it and she knew I would dance for her. And then finally I'd say, oh, you know what? I need 24 hours to really think about it and then get back. And that's just protecting me. So a boundary is how we keep each other safe. I keep me safe. I'm telling the truth. I'm not being a puppet. And I'm not being a people pleaser. So there's many, hidden beliefs about boundaries. You must be nice. If we don't do it, we'll get fired, blah, blah, blah. The question goes, if you constantly do things that hurt you, that you don't like, you are the problem. I had this saying, and I do say it, you're either the problem or you're the solution. And if you're not working towards the solution, you are digging that hole, and you may as well jump in at some point and start dumping dirt on yourself. Because number one, you're not going to be happy. So no one wants to be around you. You're toxic to yourself because you're not saying this one word, no, I need a break. I need 24 hours, whatever. Because we're afraid we'll be rejected and abandoned. I remember saying to one of my family members who was terribly abusive and manipulative, and I just said, I'm done. I'm not doing this. I'm not playing the rescuer anymore. I've done it. Enough. I'm done. I'm finished. It's over now. And there was no more discussion. There was no more arguing. And the way that I was raised is you weren't allowed to say no. You weren't allowed to have needs. So I was not allowed to say, I'm tired. I need a break. I'd have to get sick to take a break. Now, that's an example of not having any boundaries. And when you've been raised in an abusive home, the way the child develops their personality to survive is to go, oh, I don't have any needs, because if I have a need, I'm going to get slapped, or I'm going to get yelled at or shamed and humiliated. So I'll just do what I think they want me to do. So this tiny child does that to survive. Guess what happens when they grow up? They're still doing it, but they're no longer a tiny child. They're an adult. And so learning to go, is this good for me? How do I really feel about it? Versus just jump through that next hoop, boom, boom, boom. Most people keep doing it because they want to look good, but inside they feel like shit. So this is about learning how to check. So in your finances, 0 to 10, where would you put yourself? 10 is really good. 10 is you're comfortable. That means you're having financial boundaries with yourself. You're not overspending. Example. And if you're really low, like under 5, then you might go, is spending this money this way good for me? And then you check. And then if it's not, then you ask yourself, what could I do now for my future self so that my finances would be an 8? That's an example of creating a new pattern or a new program to attune to yourself to actually get your needs met, so you're not living in this place of trauma, a financial trauma. And some people do that because that's all they know. Another one that's really great is you look at your physical health. 0 to 10, where are you? Tell the truth. Are you tired? Are you exhausted? Do you have headaches? All of that. And if you're in that area, you're probably under 5. So then you go, okay, what does my body need? It might need more naps. It might need you saying, this is just for me. I'm taking an hour nap today in the middle of the afternoon for me. It might need you to remove the digital pieces out of your day, like after 7 o'clock, no more digital until the morning so your brain can detox and sleep and rest. It might mean that you start to take some walks, or that you do less, because when you're a little bit older, your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, goes up really high. And this is what happens. The thoughts keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go, 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 go. And you do. And the thoughts go next, next, next. And it keeps adding more. And then there's the anxiety. And then there's the distress, because that's all thinking. And then the body has all these stress hormones. And then what you end up with, usually abdominal fat, headaches, insomnia. And it all comes from not being conscious of your thought boundaries. What am I telling myself? So if my brain's doing the whole, you just haven't done enough, blah, 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 there's people suffering somewhere in another part of the world, and I go into this jump through the hoop process, I am doomed, because I am running away from my present state to try to create comfort by managing something that is really none of my business. And that's that little child saying, if I do this, I'm going to be okay. It's going to be okay if I go outside of myself, versus going, what if I attune to the part of me that's really just needs a break and says, Jesus, you've done enough and you're doing enough and you're doing a really good job. And you say, it's okay to rest. Like, that is bizarre. Most people don't know how to do that, but they wait until they get an autoimmune disease. And now they're in the hospital. Now they're forced to rest. Our body is not a computer. This is a computer. We only need to use about 20% of the time. The rest of it, we want to go into our body. What is your body telling you? Is it tired? Take a nap. You got some energy? Go for a walk. Are you getting enough high quality food? So one of the things that a lot of people forget is that when you take care of your body takes care of you. And if you disregard it and just, whip it and keep going, you'll do that for a while, but it'll fold on you. And then you'll be like, why did this happen? And then you'll have to learn the things I'm talking about right now. So a thought boundary is, whatever my brain's telling me will make me happy. You can ask yourself, do I know with 100% certainty that that is true? Do I have evidence that that will actually make me happy? And I'll put a $100 bill on the table that it won't, but your brain will tell you that it will. So then if you just sit and notice, the brain will keep doing that. And I call it the monkey mind. And then just pull back and go, what does my body want? What does my body need? And then you'll hear a whole different conversation. You might have some grief you're trying to run away from. Everyone has grief. And so if there's grief, then do you have a ritual, a salt bath, a candle, a prayer, whatever it is, but to honor yourself instead of trying to outrun the pain or the grief. And when we have good boundaries, which is a learned process, in my experience, we can protect ourselves from people that will take advantage of us. We can protect ourselves from, there's a word, people pleasing, posturing to look like we're cool or smart or good enough. And we can just say, you know what, it's not a good time. I'd love to do that, but I need to do it on a different day. A lot of us have this compulsion just to do it. And sometimes the question is this really good for you? That's a way to check. Is this good for you? That's a wonderful boundary interrupt. So if you're between 35 and 55, this channel is really good for you. If you're tired, if you're depressed, if you're angry, if you've got anxiety, if you've got relationship issues, this channel is for you. And if you want to learn how to get your power back and actually have a loving relationship with yourself so that you can show up in a high energy place, this channel is for you. Whatever you're doing enough, and you've done enough, you've got a good enough job. So stop, pummeling yourself, going, there's more. One of the best questions that I love, and I heard this recently, and what would my present self do, today's self, to allow my future self to get a dopamine hit, which is to feel good? So future feeling good. That could be as simple as running a bath. That could be as simple as taking the garbage out. That could be as simple as, putting $50 in a jacket that you're not going to wear to the winter, and you just forget about it. And then your future self opens the thing and gets the money and goes, wow, this is so great. And then you'll reflect back and go, wow, I did that for this moment. You can do that back and forth like an infinity symbol and just be so happy. So this channel is very efficient hacks to live your best life, no matter where you are in your life cycle. Whether you're a mom, whether your child is a grown up, whether your child is a still very young child, whether you're in a relationship, out of relationship, you want to be healthy, you're struggling with autoimmune, struggling with addiction, struggling with a narcissistic partner or a narcissistic, family member, this channel is for you. And if you want to read about how I worked through all of those things myself, a very painful story, then please check out my book. This is the back of it, The Road to Transformation, Healing Generational Trauma. If anyone ever had a reason to give up hope, it was Germana Ravanelli. That's me. Unwanted, unloved, battered, bruised, and abused by her parents. She escaped by running into the arms of abusive men and embracing the only relief she could find in drugs and alcohol. Where else do you go? With devastating honesty and candor, Germana tells her story without flinching. Her snaking, contorting path took her from the depths of physical breakdowns to the heights of recognition as a champion bodybuilder, which is cool. I have some really nice trophies and great pictures. With each plunge of her road, she could easily have given up, but Germana was blessed with a spark of hope that never died. And that one really hits me. One of my teachers said, just light a candle and create a practice every morning to remember that you matter. Somehow she knew she was meant for more than a life of despair. When she discovered her road to transformation, she knew she was meant to learn and to develop into heart and soul work, to find answers that would set people free, which is what I'm all about. With care and wisdom, Germana does just that in The Road to Transformation. This isn't just Germana's personal story. This book is a guide to changing your own life, whether you are in recovery, in a series of toxic relationships, or you just want more love, meaning, and beauty in your life. With a particularly insightful section on attachment theory, which is how we learn to do relationships from our childhood, that's where it all gets programmed in. Germana outlines practical steps to authenticity and self-love. This book will light a flame of hope in your life. When people get into recovery, they wonder why after they're clean and sober for a while, why they feel crazy. Because everything that they ran away from with the drugs now is bubbling up, and their inability to feel safe in relationships or to get their needs met or to speak up or to have healthy boundaries. They don't have those tools yet. And that's not taught in the rooms. It's not. And it's not even taught by a lot of therapists, which to me is so bizarre, because otherwise you suffer. And it's really hard to go, I'm so grateful when you're suffering. So please check out the book. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel. And know that no matter where you are, you matter, your life matters. You're welcome to reach out. If you have some questions, I will offer what I can. If you're interested in some one-on-one, I do Zoom as well as face-to-face. And I'm grateful for your time. Thank you.